That's right. Back at it again, Full Custom Hot Dog here, doing another Blu-ray review. And today we're going to be talking about the Álex de la Iglesias film, Witching and Bitching, also known as Las Brujas de Zugarramurdi. I messed up some of that. 2013 just got a release, a DiabolikDVD exclusive. That's right. So I don't know how many copies it's limited to, but I've mentioned this in the past because I've reviewed 2 of these releases already. If an Álex de la Iglesia movie hits Blu-ray or 4K, I'm insta-buying it, no questions asked. And so far, that policy has just worked out incredibly in my favor. It's a director who I can't believe I've slept on, whose work I have just adored each time. Just such a fun, wild ride in every film of his that I've seen so far. Not that I'm a completionist at this time, but I have seen 3 or 4 of his movies now, and I have loved all of them. Incredible track record. I think this dude's an absolute genius. It's not a word I throw around a lot, but let's talk about the disc itself. There's only a few featurettes, and they're fairly short and kind of nothing burgers. You know, those featurettes you get on those big-time studio discs where they just kind of BS really quick about whatever the featurette's about? That's kind of what you get here across 3 of them, and none of them are worth talking about. So it's a C disc, I'm going to say. The images are fine and everything, but I like, you guys know, I like my discs thick and meaty, boy. And that's what I'm hoping for. But unfortunately, this is not the release. Maybe someone will do a 4K of this. We don't know. But it's nice that someone put this out on home media because this is awesome. It's a fun movie. So let's go ahead and just run into what the film is about. So, according to IMDb, a gang of armed robbers finds a safe haven in a secluded village crammed with witches, only to encounter the bizarre, the unexpected, and the occult. Can they save themselves and the rest of the world from the next witch apocalypse? So, this film starts out very fun. It's a very interesting journey, this film, and it is quite a journey. I won't spoil too much of it for you because I think if you watch this review, I think you should watch this movie, and I don't want to spoil where this goes, but it starts in one place and ends in some place fairly different. Think of something like From Dusk Till Dawn. How that movie starts out as kind of a heist film, and then these guys are fugitives, and then it turns into a total vampire shootout. This film is something similar, where it starts off as a heist film. These guys are dressed up in various, very cool disguises. You've got a man dressed up as Silver Jesus. That's our lead there. He is played by Hugo Silva. We've got another man as a Green Army Man. And there's other characters as well. You've got a guy that's SpongeBob. You've got an Invisible Man. They're working together to rob this gold pawn store. They go in, they rob it. The Silver Jesus' son is there, and he's like, the one army man's like, whoa, you brought your son? And then the Jesus guy's like, yeah, it's Tuesday. These are my only days with him. So you've already established that he's kind of dumb, but he's also kind of sweet because he's trying to be a good dad. However, he has a shotgun pointed and has already fired at the ceiling and some other things there in that store. They rob a bunch of rings. The Green Army Man, his girlfriend, takes off with the getaway car, and so they take a taxi. Now the taxi driver's driving them and the passenger's inconvenienced, but they're on the run from the cops and doing a little getaway driving. They make it into a village, and that village gets pretty spooky. It's a notorious witch village. And so they end up meeting up. They end up in an altercation with a witch, and then they end up at a little cafe owned by some witches. And they keep going about their journey through the town before they get to where they're running away to. I think it was France. And so on the way there, they meet a woman who is asking if they'd seen her grandmother, her mother, which was the witch they had an altercation with earlier. I'm trying to be vague, but trying to tell you guys what's going on.
2 hours later.
And the adventure begins. And that's just the setup. It's a great setup that really takes you. That's just the beginning of the movie, you know? Everything after that is just bonkers, crazy witch madness. It's a total blast. It's an interesting film too that kind of I felt had some surprising and fun messages behind it, where a lot of these characters, primarily male cast, are all kind of having different issues with the women in their lives. So the Jesus character, he's got issues where obviously fighting for custody. His ex-wife seems to be kind of awful. She's also tailing him, by the way, with a couple constables. She's played by Macarena Gomez, who you might remember as the lead in Dagon, which is why she was incredibly familiar to me. But they have issues, and he's just like, man, she sucks. The Green Army Man, his issue is just women, period. He feels like kind of a kept man and just sort of enjoying the free ride while he's just living it up at a club called Club Sperm. You've got the taxi driver who's very secure and happy in his family. While they're robbing the Golden Pawn store, he's kind of talking out loud. The Jesus character's talking out loud about his relationship. And then one of the hostages there on the ground is agreeing with him. Like, hey, this is terrible. I get why you're robbing this place. You need alimony money. And so you kind of have this narrative of guys who are just sort of in rough spots in their relationships and sort of complaining. And it's very interesting that it's sort of these guys against very primal women. I'm saying that because, witchcraft goes back several hundreds of years. It's all about being a strong woman, power, earth, things like that. And so you sort of have these two forces collide. And at one point they sort of meet into the middle. And it's just kind of interesting to see that this overarching narrative, it basically feels like a couple dudes were sitting around and going, man, my ex-wife really sucks right now. You won't believe what she's trying to lean into me on, man. And the other guy's like, oh, tell me about it. I got my own problems. And then one of them's like, I could write a pretty good movie about this. And so they do. That's definitely what this feels like. Not a complaint, but I could see other people complaining about that, of course, right? In these days, you never know. I think it's kind of interesting to see sort of these ideas of just dudes complaining about women. Nothing nasty, nothing mean or rude or over the top, but just sort of like, damn, my situation right now in my relationship sucks. And seeing that kind of get turned into a movie, a fun little action adventure romp, that's pretty fun. But anyways, very, very entertaining movie. Very effective at being this horror adventure action film. Comedy, very effective. It's incredible how he's able to still be funny through subtitles. I don't always find myself laughing so hard at subtitled films. But man, his humor really hits hard here. And it always does. So far, like I've said, I've loved and adored each one of this guy's movies. They're all insta-buys for me. I don't know about you. Let me know what you think, of course, always in the comments. I'm your host, Full Custom Hot Dog. You can follow me on Twitter. It's Full Custom Hot Dog without the last O, because that's just too long for Twitter. So, thank you all for watching, and until next time. If you like what you see,
I love what I see.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you can watch whatever comes next. And if you like the music you hear, you can follow me on SoundCloud and Spotify. Check the description for links.